The chance for adoptees and also birth families to register on the nation's largest mutual consent search registry. Now, registering could give an adopter or an adoptee the chance to find a family member that was separated by adoption. We have a couple of special ladies joining us this morning. Rhonda Newton is joining us, and also Joan B. Ornsgaard is also joining us. Thank you. You're going to talk more about the event, but we want to point out this morning that both of you were adopted.
Correct. That's right.
And I want to get to the event, but first, if whatever part of the story you want to share. Adopted as infants when you were younger?
I was adopted at 5 months. I was in foster care before that. And I was through an agency placement. And I also have a sister who was adopted, but she was adopted through a lawyer. So there's lots of different ways that people are adopted.
And how did you find out? Through the years, or were you curious? Your adopted family obviously shared the story with you.
No, actually, they told me I was adopted, but back in those days, they told us that my parents had died in a car crash, and it wasn't until I was a reporter and doing an article that I had done it on a support group who was about searching and reunion with birth parents that I had the first inkling that maybe my parents hadn't died in a car crash, because I learned the standard comment, and I asked my birth mom about it, and my adopted mom, and she said, yeah, that's what they were told to tell us. And the only real impetus I had for finding my birth mother was because I had just had a baby, and I wanted to know what my medical history was.
Yeah, so important.
Right, and I always write in not applicable, not applicable, not applicable. And once you have a child, then it's like, well, what are the genetics? What are the predispositions for disease and health? And that was the part where I was really curious.
Yeah, I can only imagine. So what is going to happen at this Reg Day?
Well, Reg Day has been incorporated into a conference that we're having next Saturday called Life Adopted. It's sponsored by Shadow Mountain Hospital, and it focuses on all sorts of issues across the lifespan that can potentially impact adoptees. Of course, no adoption is the same as another, and individuals' experience of that event is as varied as there are people. So, but many times adoptees can suffer with identity issues or lack of identity, grief and loss around the loss of their biological families. So it certainly is not just about search and reunion, but Reg Day will be offered there. It's a forum for registering with the Soundex Reunion Registry, which is a free registry that connects internationally adopted people with biological family. So the Life Adopted Conference runs from 9 to 4.
And you invite adopters, adoptees?
Absolutely, absolutely. We have presenters that include mental health professionals, PhDs, authors, very accomplished folks in the field of adoption. So they'll provide workshops that are not just for mental health clinicians or professionals who work with adoptees, but for the general public. And the nice thing about this conference is that much of the information will be provided by adults.
Being adopted, it affects you through all aspects of your life, even as you get older, too.
Well, suppose you have you need a transplant or a blood transfusion.
Yeah.
I have, I'm not sure I could locate, well, I could because they're back in Philadelphia, but how I would get that with a genetic match, except through my children that I've given birth to now.
Right, and you found your birth mother.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Are you in contact, or?
No, I was not a typical case. She was 28 when she got pregnant with me. We have to break some of the illusions that it's just teenagers who get pregnant and give their children up for adoption. My birth mother was 28, and she had been engaged and involved with a man for quite a while. She was also the youngest of 11 kids, and when that broke up and she was pregnant, she felt like she had no other option but to give me up for adoption.
Yeah. Wow.
And I did talk to her several times, but like many adoptees, and in this situation, she had gone on to get married and she had children, and she did not tell her children about me. She had told her husband, so me reconnecting with her created a lot of chaos for her family. So out of respect for her, I just said, I got the information I wanted and what I needed in terms of my genetics, my history, who my biological father was, and I was able to move on.
Wow, Joan, thank you so much for sharing your story with us this morning.
Sure.
And as you said, every story is so different. Yeah. Ladies, both thank you. I want to get you the latest information